1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Girl Chat, and you're catching us right in the middle of conversation. Like
the conversation before the conversation.
Conversation before the conversation. It's like, why are we not recording this? Like,
right.
We need to be recording this. Like, this is some good stuff. And we're talking about confidence.
Welcome back to everyone. We are excited to be back with episode 9 of Girl Chat. And today we are talking about confidence and just what that means and how it really dives into, do you trust yourself? And that how much that plays a role in, I think, where to even start. And so I'll let Celia take this away and set it up, and then we'll dive back in.
Well, we've been on this road with confidence because it's our own personal journey. So you're you're right here in the middle of us, like as we're in our 40s. And I really think that that's where, I'm feeling the most confident. Because in my 20s and 30s, I wasn't confident about anything. Like
right.
I was doing things to gain confidence, but I didn't really even understand what that meant and like how that can really, when you have self-confidence, like how much that helps you in every aspect of life. So, but you and I actually talked about the trust part, like being able to trust yourself. And that comes from fear. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, that fear is what holds us back from moving forward. And so if you can get past the fear, you can drop the fear and take this step, towards something. When you get on the other side of finishing that goal or finishing whatever you've set out to do, that's where you're going to gain confidence. Like that's where confidence is going to come from. And I mean, we were just talking about this. It has been a year since Be Amazing Weekend, and only those closest to me really understand the level of work and dedication and consistency and drive and, all the things that went into it, all the people that played a role in it. And it just, my husband was like so involved with me. He was my day to day, every day,
yes,
just helping me push through to the finish line. And just when everything was said and done and dust settled, we got through the weekend. We're talking 4 events, 2 days, people coming in from all over the country. The first event with COVID being over, like it just, I can't even like wrap my head around like all the different elements that were in play. We had Strong Magazine a part of it. Paul Buscetta came in. Like, it was just like, I look at it and it's just in my head. I'm like, I can't believe that we just did that. Like,
it was massive. Yes,
it was massive. It was a massive event. We were supporting community, but when the dust settled, everything was done. It was like, I think a month later or so, and Eric and I were talking, my husband and I were sitting down and talking about it. And I just all of a sudden like had this boost of confidence. Like, well, damn, if I can do that, if I can push like myself to the wall like that, if I can pull that many people together, if I can, work that hard and see that and not only just get over the finish line, but like we finished with such an incredible story in itself, and the people that were touched and the community that was impacted, the money that was raised for CBF, and just all the women that participate. Like if I can do that, then there isn't anything I can't do. That's kind of what it gave me. So when I got a taste of that confidence, I'm like, man, I want to feel that more. Like,
and guys, she did not feel this right after. Like it took her months of processing what really, and then those closest to her, me talking to her and helping her see what really took place, because when she was in it, she couldn't see it because it was just the work, the constant work. And then after it, it was the exhaustion. And when you're in those places, you don't always see, you don't see how great everything was. It was just, she hit that wall at the end, and it was like, dear God, I'm glad it's over and I will never do this again. I remember her saying, I will never do this. And I was like, well, let's give it a few months or a little bit of recuperation. And then, I mean, I can remember even my daughter who ended up being in it, wasn't even supposed to be in it, ended up being in it. I don't know, we threw her in the day of the show. She took my place. I'm like, listen, you're doing this. And I think, it was even her saying, what do you mean she's not going to do it again? Like, that was like the most like fabulous weekend like I ever she at 15 had even gotten so much out of it. And so this was not the feeling she had at the very end of it. It's just taken months of processing. And when you do take on big projects, I mean, listen, I've been there, just with stores, and when you're an entrepreneur and you're growing things and it's like stuff that you've never done before, and so you're stepping out on the water, you don't have anything to compare it to because it's a new experience. So it's like, I'm just blindly going through this, let's roll. And then it's like at the end you're like, never. But I mean, look at John and I again. After COVID, I was like, I'll never open another store ever again, like telling him never. And look, here we are again. But it's a fabulous one. And it's like, thank God you don't quit. Like, thank God we don't quit and you keep showing up. And that is what does build true confidence. And it's actually amazing to watch, not only in your own life, but in other people's lives, because it builds your own faith and your own confidence when you have those close to you doing magnificent things.
100%. Like we both share, like we've talked about before, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like, it's important to share all aspects. That's why we want to talk about it on here, because we want to share, like, again, the hard times, the good times, even with what we're doing with this podcast. Like, we don't know who's listening right now.
Because, man, it can get ugly. Like, can we tell you how ugly it can get? We're talking like tears and snot. Like, I mean, it is not pretty all the time. And, and it shouldn't be. You wouldn't need God. You wouldn't need support. You wouldn't need any of that if it was easy. But big things come out of hardships. And if that's one thing I've learned now that I'm in my 40s, like, God, we want the comfortable, the easy, that just, but it's like, that's not what builds character. That's not what builds confidence. So don't grow weary. Keep going.
I love that. And this goes back to something we talked about, a podcast that we listened to. I think it was a couple weeks ago. It may have been like 2 weeks ago. Lori Harder's podcast. We always talk about her because we just freaking love her. Like,
yes,
she's just awesome. She's amazing in herself and what she does, like the stuff that she tackles, and she shares her hardships, and just, we so appreciate her vulnerability. And so that's why we bring her up often. We admire what she does for women, for people, just for a community. But there was one thing I heard about on a podcast that she had done recently, and it was she was talking about confidence, and that confidence comes from committing to something. And that just kind of like, I was like, she's right. Because when you commit to something, and then she added the second piece, follow through.
Yeah.
And I was like, so it's the commitment and the follow through to the result that you want. Mm-hmm. Now the follow through part is where it can get
hazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But follow through is consistency. Follow through is the work. Follow through is the show up. Follow through is the doing it when you don't feel like it. Follow through is when you face a challenge, instead of like sitting down and crying, you stand back up and you keep trucking. Like, that's the follow through, is that consistency. So it's the commitment, it's the follow through, the consistency that will equal the result and the achievement. And it's when you hit that result that all of a sudden you're like, okay, I got that one done. Now let's go to the next one. Because the way we coach and train, we always want women to start, to have, like, yes, you have a big goal, but let's break it down. What's a little goal this week that you can do? Like, you want that. Like, what are some little things you can do that will help you get to the big one? But it does come down to that commitment, that follow through, and then we get that result. And that just really stuck with me. And it's just, that's kind of where I'm sitting in right now, because you and I are doing the same thing with this podcast, with what we're doing with the girl chat community, like, and CP method, like, we just know to show up. Like, we're
Right.
here. We're going to keep showing up because we want a positive result. We know where we want to go. And this is what it takes to get there.
I'm telling you, it's the 1%. Like, that's what I keep going back to. It's the daily habits, the 1%. It's the little things that you don't realize that add up to the big things. So like when you have this big goal in front of your face and you're like, how am I going to get there? It's like Cel said, you break it down, because it's those daily little habits that it's not like my training today or my non-training today, because I haven't yet. Like, it's not that 1 hour that's going to make me grow lean muscle. Like, no, it is the showing up of every single day, whether it's that 20 minutes, whether it's an hour, it can be whatever that day. It's the years down the road. I mean, I don't know how many people, we get asked all the time, well, how do you train? It's like, I've literally been training since I was 16 and with weight since I was in college. Like, that is why it's added up to this. It is not what I've been doing the last 6 weeks of my life. Now, granted, that does count, but it's these little 1% that if we will consistently show up for ourselves, we have no problem showing up for other people. We have no problem showing up for our family, for our husbands, for our girlfriends, for what to have fun, to whatever, but it's showing up and doing the hard stuff, and the stuff that's not always glamorous, that we don't want to do, and that's the stuff that counts. But for me, that same podcast, it was like in threes. It was like, if we want you to come to Glow, we will have Emily as one of our guest speakers, and she is amazing. But she said something the other day, and it was about growing confidence. And she was talking about trusting yourself. And that just like hit me in my gut. And I was like, oh, why did that hit me like that? Then later I listened to the podcast that Cel just mentioned of Lori Harder. Same thing, trusting yourself. Then later that week, I'm like, okay, everything, completion comes in threes. I'm like, I got hit with it again. And I'm like, Celia, that trusting yourself, because for me, like, okay, the workout, the health stuff, that's like a no-brainer for me anymore. That is literally part of my life. Now the extreme stuff's different, the extreme stuff is in a daily part of my life, but just the normal healthy living. But for other pieces, like our podcast, like our Glow event, like our things that we're currently growing, that's where I am learning to, okay, trust myself with certain things like that, because that has not been my everyday life. I've got all these other things going on, but now I'm trying to add something new, and it's not always easy. It's like, but I have to carve out that time. It's those little commitments that you make, and then you show up, follow through. Like, every time we get done with our podcast, I'm like, yes, done. We did it. It's like we showed up and did it. And like, that little boost for me builds my confidence. Like, we are doing this. And it's so funny that, like, yeah, we don't see the end result yet, but man, it is building my confidence like crazy. And I'm so appreciative of that, because now I see it.
I feel the same way. I mean, every time I get on, and even with, before we started this podcast, I had, going back to, like, new goals and things of that nature, and doing things that make you uncomfortable. So let's back up and talk
Yeah.
about that a second. Things that make me uncomfortable, things I'm not familiar with. The gym, all about it, right? Because that's what I do every day.
Right.
I outfit gyms, I work out at the gym. Like, that's where I built my confidence in fitness, was the gym. That's my sweet spot. That's like the place
Right.
that I feel the most confident. And I've always said to myself, why is it that I can feel super, super confident here, but you put me in another scenario and I'm like the most unconfident person there is when it comes to business? I never saw myself as a career person. I've never seen myself as an entrepreneur. I've never seen myself as, somebody that's sales. Like, I've never even accepted that about myself. I always thought, because I got thrown in it and I just had to learn as I go, like, I never really accepted that about myself, to trust myself that, yes, that's what I do every day and build my confidence. So with Ready Fitness, I've had to build my confidence over the past 7 years, 7 years of showing up to properties, working with property managers, you know, showing up and working with developers, like development in real estate. If you had told me that that would be something that I would be, sitting in offices and talking with development teams and telling them how they need to build, out their fitness center, I'd been like, huh? Like what? And that didn't come easily. And there's still times that I'll get put in scenarios where I'll be on Zoom calls with like not just one person, but I'll have 5 people and they all have opinions, and having to work through that and stay confident in what I believe and what I know to be. So, but that comes through doing it. So I really feel strongly about, like, you've got to do the things that are uncomfortable.
Yeah.
This podcast wouldn't even have happened had I not gotten uncomfortable and just like took the leap to learn how to record a podcast. Like,
Right.
I didn't know how to do any of this stuff. Leah, this is we do all our own editing. I mean, all our own, like, Leah writes up the description every time. Like, this is a tag team effort, and then we just send it. And then we love SweatNet because they are awesome about like promoting it, pushing out, and they host it on their website. But like, that wasn't something that I like, oh, Cel's been to school and she's learned this or she's taken a course. No.
Right.
Cel found, like, I was Googling and like I'm gonna learn to do this. And so I did, but that's what prepped me for, not necessarily just for the Be Amazing weekend and Be Amazing podcast, but it prepped us for this because it was just easy for us to just step right in and go. But I think that that's the thing, is you have to be willing to get uncomfortable. You have to, in order to get confident.
Yeah. Totally agree. Doing
What's
the work.
something all right. So what's something you've done that you're that you've been super uncomfortable doing?
Oh my God, just talking on this podcast. Okay, if you know me, I am borderline introvert extrovert. Like, I'm only your extrovert if I know you, and I can get loud, we can party, we can do whatever. But if I don't know you, I mean, forgive me. Like, people would meet me all the time when I was younger and be like, "You are so nice," and I'm like, did you not think that I was? Like, because I'm just not that outgoing. Like, people can drain me or they can energize me. They can, my surroundings can energize me or drain me. Like, I am not your typical. So talking to you about what goes on in my head is not something that is comfortable for me, or my struggles. No, I want to be strong at everything. I don't want to be weak in anything. I don't want you to know my weaknesses. So this podcast, so to get me here on a weekly basis, that's an accomplishment for me. And and it's us sending it out there, and we don't know who's going to listen. And what if they know me? Like, I'm not okay with people that don't know me listening, but people that know me, like, what are they going to think? This has probably been, I would say, this year, one of the hardest things that I've had to get over and tackle and do, because events and working out and training and talk, like, that's easy. That is so easy for me. But this has definitely challenged me to step up, and just the preparing that goes into each week. We outline, we don't just fly by the seat of our pants and just say, hey, let's get on and talk. No, we have a plan and we have an outline, and we talk to each other, and we decide what we're going to go for. And then after that, I research. I want to know what I'm talking about. And I want you to feel like we know what we're talking about. And so that this for sure has been the hardest thing that I've had to do. It's still hard. I still get butterflies every time we go.
Yeah, but it's so neat because it's like, I know you, and I knew you had a voice, and I knew that the way that you were used to voicing it was always in writing, because your writing's ridiculous. Like, I sent out the blog post this week, and just reading it, like, just the way you write, like, to me is just you just have such a gift with that. So like, but to get you to a place where you are ready to like share it in a different way is so cool. Because like, I know, as your friend, I'm like, I know she's got it in her, like, I know it's there.
Right.
It's just figuring out like when you're ready, because you're a processor, So it's like,
Yes.
you're not an instantaneous, like, yes, I'm in. It's it can be like, it can be a really long,
Drawn
long,
out.
drawn out, like touch and go, like my toes in the water. We might do it, when I not. It might not. Like,
And I think that boils down to trusting myself. That's why
yeah,
that hit me so hard. Is a lot of times I don't, it has taken me longer to step out on the water because I'm afraid of failure, or I'm afraid of somebody criticizing me, or it is that fear. It's the fear, just like what you talked about in the beginning. And fear comes in all shapes and sizes. And that's what can paralyze you. And it's like I didn't trust myself to step out and have enough to say for a podcast. Like, oh my God, I think about all the people that I listen to, and I listen to so many podcasts, and I'm like, they're amazing. And I walk away with so much knowledge, and I'm like, who am I? Who am I to tell, to get on a podcast and have something to say every week that somebody wants to listen to? And so it's that fear, and trusting myself to show up and say, yes, I'm a part of this. Yes, this is what I do. And I'm going to do it, even if it's just that one person listening to it, if I can help that one person. Because so much of our lives, it's not just physical, it's not just mental, it's not just spiritual, it's all of it. He designed us so intricately, that it blows my mind continuously, at how, he has shaped and designed us, and how we need each other. I think that's my biggest takeaway this week that I've learned, and that I've kind of accepted. Like, you know, he put us on this earth for each other. And we are supposed to have, you have your tight group, and then you have, then it expands. It's like rings. And it's like, we need each other. And that's something that's hit home for me a lot this week. And I'm so appreciative of Celia's always pushed me. She's always been that friend that has challenged me, that has forced me to step out of my box. And I don't let many people do that for me. I don't let many people drag me
I was gonna
out
say,
of my
it wasn't
comfort
even
zone.
push. It's like, grab your hand and pull you.
Let's go.
Here's
Okay.
what we're doing.
Let's move it. So she'll give me deadlines, or she'll give me things to do. And I'm just like, maybe that kid, that kicking and screaming, like, are you sure? Or I don't know how that is. I'm going to write it and give it to you. And if it's good, you can use it. If not, just throw it away. But she's always been that for me. And you'll have those people in your life. I don't have very many that I allow that close in. But I am learning that he puts people in our lives for a reason.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm
think you need,
thankful.
I think you need the push and the pull. We all need that. Like,
Hmm.
and there's things that I have, like, in my, oh, so we're different. Here's two ways that we're different, and this is how we complement each other. But like, I'm already like, you know, I don't care. Videos, speaking,
Right.
talking, like whatever, I'm
What's
all
next?
in. What, yeah, just tell me give me what you kind of want me to talk about. I'm in, whether it was, doing the video for Walking Wednesdays, or being on camera when I was on camera a couple years ago for Healthy Charlotte, representing them, and they gave me talking points. I'm like, all right, done, let's go. But when it comes to writing, that's where my insecurity lies. And I'll tell you where this insecurity started. It actually has to do with the physical writing, the handwriting, my handwriting. So I was held back in first grade. I was held back in first grade for my handwriting, because my handwriting was not up to,
I
like,
never knew that.
yeah. So I think it goes back that far. So when
Yeah.
it comes to writing in general, it's trusting that that I've grown from, that I can write. And even my
Yes.
handwriting, like a lot of times I judge myself for like how I sign or write things. And so I think that has carried over into me actually writing something and putting it out, and trusting that what I'm writing is okay. And
Hmm.
with that said, a lot of times I'll even send you something, like if it's on behalf of us, or something that's going on CP Method or out or whatever, I'm always sending it to you to be like, hey, can you proof this?
Hmm.
So I've had to build my confidence in that area, because that's an area for me that has held me back a lot, I think, in the past.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're a great writer.
And see, it's funny because like and here's another story. So I would write Lee all the time. Remember the emails
Yes.
I'd write you?
Emails,
Yeah,
cards.
like I just
have
would
them.
write because you were like this goes back to when I first met you and just our friendship, and like I would have to travel a lot for my job, and I would write you emails. It'd be late, and I don't know, I would just sit down and write, like just write things I would think. And it was just, she was that one person I could just write to, and it wouldn't like it, she never judged me back for it. Like she just accepted what it was. So I think that's why that comfortability is there with you when it comes to that, like when it comes to putting things out, and I have that trust with you. So I can trust myself, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Which is why you need people
Yeah.
to help you trust who you are
Yeah.
and build your confidence.
So good.
Yeah, like I just feel so strongly about confidence, and I think because this is such a personal journey, which every human being struggles with confidence in one area or another, I believe. But you know, I have such strong feelings about it, and like and how like gosh, how you can get paralyzed by fear and be so afraid. Like here's another thing: you haven't done something for a long time. Like let's say that you did, let's say, just to take the Be Amazing weekend for instance, did that, it was great. Would I do it again? Don't know yet. But what I can say is there's that fear of like, when so much time passes, do I know how to do that again?
And that's why I tell
again?
her
Can I do it again?
our glow event, you absolutely can. And it's like our glow event. I told her, I said, this is our event up under Be Amazing, because it's just a part of that. Yeah, it's not to the extent, it's not the, the flying the everyone in and the photographers and the fitness competitions and all that. Like it's not all of it, but it's still a piece of it. And it is on a smaller scale, but it's still, you're still putting on another event. Here we are next year, putting on another one when you're like, I am done. I am packing this up. I am
Doing
ever
another
gonna
one.
like, I'm never, and it's like, no, it's in you. God put that in you, and he will keep to life what is meant to be. I do believe that. And this is just another portion, another piece of that big weekend. This is the extent of it this year. And so we don't know what next year brings yet.
Yeah. That's
'Cause
what's neat.
we're still building.
Yeah, we're still building, and we don't know what it's all going to evolve to, but
Right.
yeah, but that's interesting because I've had those are the thoughts I've been having, which is why I think confidence right now is so key. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like, you just start questioning, like when you've done something, can you do it again? Would it be as good? What if it looks different? So I don't, the confidence game is always going to be there.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, like, I have way more confidence now than I have ever had, and it has come through the hard places.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of the hard places. Hard places are
Right.
good. They are
They're
good.
so good. I
Hard
know.
places
And
are so good.
if we could appreciate that, and like when you're in the middle of it, if you're stuck and you're in the middle, it's like deep breath. This is going, when you get on the other side, if you can somehow appreciate where you are, and then once you get on the other side, you'll be like, man, it really it really is the hardships that prove out and shape our character and who we are, and he's doing something in it. But no matter who we talk to, guys, we every week we talk to more people, and whether they're in business, whether they're female, male, like confidence across the board has been the biggest thing that everybody runs into, not just one time in their life. It's like there's seasons of it, and it's like across the board. I don't care if you're 15, I don't care if you're 75. We've talked to so many that still deal with that issue and still are being shaped by what they've had to face in life, and continue to show up for. So I don't know that the journey ever ends with that, but you do grow, and you learn a lot through it.
And it can be a really awesome thing to like
Yep.
really go through, hindsight, looking back, all the challenges. Like, man, I'm so thankful that I went through the challenges. I'm thankful for the people that I had surrounding me in the middle of the challenge. Like that's so important. Like find your two or three people, or maybe it's five, who knows, whoever it is that's kind of like will encircle and get in it with you. And they can't do the work for you, but
Right.
they can support you. They can pray for you. They can pray with you. I know 6 weeks before the weekend, we had a group of us. Like I called and I was like, okay,
Yeah. Every
I need,
Sunday.
right. And I was like,
We're-
I need y'all to get on this call with me, and I need you to agree with me, and I need you to stand in faith with me, and I need you to pray and believe with me. And you did. And Lori and Patrice and Leah, like that was the crew. Like they were the ones I knew who to go to. Like, and that's the thing, you have different people in your life for different things, like for different seasons or for different things. Like
Right.
there's certain people that that this is what they do, and they believe the same and want to stand the same. And I knew that about them, and I knew how important it was that and because they were a part of it, and I knew how important it was. So I just think, like, I just want to say, find those group of people in your life that will support you and be there with you through it. Because you need people, no matter what challenge. Like it could be a personal challenge, it could be, a work challenge, it could be family, it could be kids, it could be spouse, it could be health. I mean, any of it. But you need those people to help you to get through and get on the other side.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that just because you have people surrounding you that everything's going to run
That
perfect,
it's
and
easy.
that it's easy, and then all of a sudden, like, life's like, you know awesome and rainbows and butterflies. It's not that. It's just that you need to have people that will help you remain strong in whatever that you're in the middle of right now. And just knowing that you're not alone.
Yeah.
And he meant for us to have community. Like God meant for us to have community. He
Hmm.
meant for that. We as people, as human beings, need that.
Yes. That being said, we want all of you to join us
Right.
at Glow November 5th, because you need us.
Hmm.
You need a support system. You need a community, and you need accountability. I don't care what your goal is. Your goal may have nothing to do with weight loss or muscle gain or anything. Like you're thinking fitness when you think about us, and it's like it's it's not just about that. It's about divorce. It's about your kids, you know, whether they're struggling or they're in their teenage years. Whoo, Lord help us. Like it's jobs. It's not feeling comfortable in your own skin. It's all of these things, that we as a group and as a community can come together and push you along and help you along, and you will benefit from support. You will not be disappointed. Um, and when I tell you that we have the most fun at our photo shoots and your individual pictures and your group photo shoots, like you will look back on this day and be like, thank God I needed this group and I needed this event. So whatever your goal is, or maybe you don't have a goal yet, and we're going into the holidays and it's a busy time. I know. So we're trying to hit you before those crazy, before the craziness happens. We're getting it in, but we want to start before New Year. We want to get daily habits, established and goals established before we hit January. Don't let this be another year that comes around and you're like, here I am again, the same slump, the same rut, the same whatever. Don't let it pass you by. You won't be disappointed. We have lots for you, and you will love it.
Absolutely. And I love the whole goal part that we've been talking about, because you're right. so many people wait till like, December 31st. I'm
Right.
going to set my goal for January 1. No, that you start now, because if you can start now with like knowing what you're going into for the next year, have a plan in place,
Setting your calendar,
setting your
being
calendar,
prepared.
right?
Yeah.
That accountability. Remember, let's go back. Commitment, follow through, which is that consistency and that accountability, like all of that's wrapped in the follow through will equal the result that you want to go after. And it doesn't have to be fitness related. Like
It can be finance related. It can be
yes,
finances. It can be family. It can be, body. It can be spiritual. It can be so many different things. This is not just about getting your physical body to a point where you love it. No, like that's
because
not what this is about.
right. And because we all know that that's not even a possibility. Like we never love exactly where we are. We're always going to want to strive and be somewhere different. But
Yeah.
with this, you're going to have a support system. You're going to have the two of us that,
Tools. You're going to have tools in place.
right? The two of us that are like, can't even tell you, the biggest cheerleaders ever. But like also, we're also we can be we can be hard when we need to be. But
Right.
because we want to be real, and we want to be realistic about how life throws you challenges. Because let me tell you, the minute you set a goal,
Yes.
the day that you set a goal, there will be something that happens that will try to throw you off track within the week that you set it. Like that's just
Right.
it just happens. It just
And I
is.
think that's why so many people don't trust themselves, because they're constantly setting these massive goals and there's no follow through. And so having the tools to break it down, smaller pieces, smaller little, mini goals that lead you to that, it's a process. But when you show up with these little things, that's what builds it. And it's like, don't let this year be another year like the rest, where yes, you've said it time and time again. And if you said it out loud to a friend, they'll be like, really, you said that last year, or you said that 5 years ago. Let's be for real. We're going to help you with that. We're going to help you with the tools to do it and to set it up. So join us November 5th. The link will be in our bios. The link is everywhere. We post it everywhere in the podcast, but we would love for you to join us and be there. And let's glow together.
Yes. This has been such incredible conversation. Like
Mhm.
this has been so good. Guys, we thank you so much for joining us for this episode. We look forward to seeing you soon. So make
Yes.
sure you go to the link and click on it. Feel free to DM us with any kind of questions, or, if you have a
Feedback.
feedback, topic, anything. Like, we would love to hear from you. Please share with other, women in your life, and follow us on IG. Where can they follow us, Leah?
They can follow us at CP Method. They can follow us at Leah Elizabeth _V, and it's Cel Smart.
So stay tuned for a new episode coming out soon. And again, don't forget to click that link.
1, 2,